I like
There
that.
we go. We'll go with that. Dennis, my friend, it's another week. We've got lots
Here we
of
are.
topics to cover between the football and
Yes.
the New Hampshire and the True Detective. Like, our plate is full.
Had we spoken since Iowa
It was right after Iowa,
or
I think.
after Iowa?
So, but New Hampshire was yesterday. So,
Yes,
Let's-
indeed.
do you wanna
Indeed.
dive into
And
that?
I have much
curious.
to report and discuss.
Okay.
There's some very interesting twists and turns. And I have some theories to espouse. You won't be surprised. Some strong opinions. In
theories.
fact.
Okay. Well, give me your theories. First of all,
And there's music. There's a music story to tell.
okay,
We created a jam session.
nice.
There's a story to tell about that.
Where do you want to start?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's kind of your role.
How about those Lions?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, so once again, Lions Stadium surpassed any known record for noise.
Okay.
And the quarterback from the Tampa Buccaneers said afterwards that it's one of the greatest places he've ever played because of the fans.
Wow.
And they played a hell of a game, and it was like he was happy for him. I mean, that's like the wonderful world of sports, you know. But here's the thing: is the game was the Lions pounding effectively and rushing the quarterback, and my favorite player from Michigan, Aiden Hutchinson, spun off the defenders and sacked and tackled and pressured all day long. It was nothing but cheering, and so they've been at this point before.
Okay.
It's been, I think, I want to say 32 years.
Okay.
Since they were in an NFC championship game. And guess who do you think they were playing? Oh, would you guess the San Francisco 49ers,
Nice.
who they face this Sunday again in their history? They've advanced to the NFC championship twice then, each time against the 49ers. The last time they lost. 30 years later, we will get our fucking revenge.
Yes.
So here's a cool thing that you'll like, and you could Google this. This is some cool stuff. Look at the new swag from Detroit that's called Detroit Grit. And you'll see hats and T-shirts. And what I didn't see was this T-shirt that Jared Goff gave to his group of young kids that he's helping as part of his charitable work, that had the word grit coming up like a sunrise over the cityscape of Detroit, if I have it right in my head. I didn't see that one for sale, but that one was even way cool. But it's exactly right.
Nice.
It's Dan Campbell's mantra to his team, of course, and this is why when people lose to the Lions, they say things like, way to go. This city, they don't go so far as you deserve it, but there's genuinely happy for them.
Nice. Hey, how great that you're winning, deservedly so.
Well,
And good
here's the
sportsmanship
thing.
on the side of the losers too.
Yes. Yes. On our very, very big plus side of things is that the Green Bay Packers, who is the youngest NFL football team by average age, et cetera, and relative earliness in their career, they played the 49ers in a playoff game, and the Packers won the game for 3 quarters. and lost it in the last 10 minutes. And nobody had done that. Nobody had controlled them. Nobody had run against them, blah, blah, blah. The youngest team broke all the things. All the Lions have to do, is easy for me to say, is do what they did, but do it for 4 quarters.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're capable of doing that. They have one of the best offensive line in the country, and when Goff has time, in Goff we trust.
Yes. And this is to get to the Super Bowl, right?
This is to get to the Super Bowl. On the other side of the equation, a sad game, still upset, still angry about it. The Buffalo Bills lost at home to the Kansas City Chiefs. My beloved Bills, 3 times in playoffs now, they've faced the Chiefs. And 3 times in playoffs, they've lost. And when someone says Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback for the Chiefs, owns the Lions, you want to slap them across the fucking face. But they've won all 3. Lions, on the other hand, have won 2 regular season games, or not the Lions, but I should say the Bills beat them 2 regular season games in the past several years. But then again, the Lions beat them 2 as an opener. So Kansas City Chief went into cold, 2-foot snowdrift Buffalo, cold as hell, but above
Right.
zero, not like some recent games. And the Bills won for 3 quarters. They stopped him. Mahomes kept throwing great passes. Travis Swift, Kelsey kept catching the ball, and 3 times they scored, never in the red zone. They were stopped, and at the end, Josh Allen, Superman, 4th quarter, little over 5 minutes left, in the 40-yard line, wants to go for a touchdown. Man gets open. Quarterback's getting rushed by a huge lineman. He gets rid of it in time, but throws it short. And it was a remarkably open man in a throw that not only does Josh Allen do all the time, we expect it from him every time, and he didn't do it. He missed the throw. He had another opportunity the next throw, missed that. Then they were at, all right, well, it's 4th down now. I guess we can kick a field goal 44 yards out. No, they didn't. They missed it. Game over.
Oops.
And the guy who missed the field goal hadn't missed a field goal in
A long time, yeah.
record number of games. So there it goes.
Oh, well.
Boom. So what we see is Kansas City Chiefs, my brother Mike's team, which means there is some desire for them. But I'm so angry and pissed off at Mahomes for winning. I won't tell him this, but I'm going to have to think about who I'm cheering for. But it's against John Harbaugh, the coach of Michigan University currently, until, of course, he grades up from 11 million to 80 million years and goes to the Los Angeles Chargers and becomes their new head quarterback. The brother of Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, has already won a Super Bowl. Who did he play to win the Super Bowl? Well, interesting, that too was the San Francisco 49ers. The name of the coach was Jim Harbaugh, brother against brother, in the only remarkable time in the history of the
vaguely
sport
recall that
2 brothers played each other. John won. John wants to go back again, and surprisingly, after being a great football team for 20 years, really, pretty consistently good, better, great, etc., the Baltimore Ravens, Super Bowl winners, haven't played a playoff game at home in Baltimore since 1971. They've got a 50-year thing that's the same kind of storyline with the Lions, but even different, but even in more years. So the city of Baltimore is going crazy. And when Kansas City Chiefs get there, Patrick Mahomes could pull shit out of his ass, but it's a tough place to play, just like Buffalo was. And again, we were beating them for 3 quarters by all statistics except for a impact play.
Impact.
Instead of plodding up the field, getting into the red zone, there's an impact play. You're at your own 50, you throw it, it goes 35 yards for a catch and a touchdown. Big play. And that's what makes Kansas City Chiefs remarkable, is that they always have some good plays because the quarterback is the most athletic, some would argue the very best quarterback in the world right now, and he has a receiver, Travis Kelce, that no one or two people seem to be able to do it. So there's always the big play. You know that. You got to stop the big play against Kansas City, plus make sure that they don't march up the field. The Bills stopped them from marching up the field, and like everybody does a lot, like a lot of people do a lot, they miss the opportunity to stop the big plays. Miss coverage. Too late. Touchdown. Missed tackle. Too late. Touchdown. A mistake is a score. Patrick Mahomes looks at the field and sees everything instantly, and in less than 3 seconds throws the ball to the open man. Boom, boom, 2 seconds. Boom, boom, 1.5. Wow. Boom, boom. That's how fast it unfolds. And that's what he does. And then it doesn't hurt that we missed the motherfucking field goal. I mean, right. So that's the wide world of sports. Looking forward this Sunday.
When you say you're at your own 50, isn't that also their 50?
It depends on which way you're facing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you always facing... It depends on what do you mean, which way you're facing?
Well, if I'm facing toward your goal, I'm on my 50.
Aren't you always?
Or I mean, I'm on your 50. I'm on your 50.
Oh, if you're on offense, then I'm on your 50.
Yes.
Interesting. I learned something about...
But at any rate, you get the general idea. But anyway, 2 games coming up Sunday, 3 o'clock. Baltimore Ravens versus Kansas City Chiefs again in Baltimore. And then the big game, 6:30. Fucking San Francisco, 64 degrees, clear sky, ready to go in an outdoor stadium. Lions are used to playing in 70. They'll be happy about this. And here we go. And they've been watching that Packers tape every day. They've been stopping it and saying, look at his left foot. You see what he did here? They're stopping it and they're saying, see this moment? Capture, run. Go out in the field, try the plays. They got one thing in mind. And what's lovely about these games, just wonderful, is that they no longer can be concerned about injuries. They go all out, body be damned, because if they're out, they're out. Right. They would take the risk now rather than earlier. This is the game. One and done. One or done. One or done. That's it.
Okay.
Remarkable. That's the sports wrap-up.
Thank you, Dennis from the sports desk. Now,
football anyway.
Should we go to politics or entertainment?
Well, I'd pick politics. What's the question?
What's new in the Hampshire?
Well, as I think the world probably knows by now, everyone will hear Trump won. He won by a 11-point margin. It was 54%, something like that. And, of course, it was expected he'd win. He's got the Republican base by the throat. New Hampshire, of course, is an odd place, the only place where Nikki Haley, who came in at a shockingly high, 40+%. It's the only place she could do that because Democrats are allowed to stop being a Democrat and for the vote of this become unaffiliated or independent, plus, as they say.
Her initials are NH, so that must have been going for her.
There you go.
Right?
There you go. Good, man. It's a big deal. And so she she came in great, and she did something that Bill Clinton did back in 1991. She came out
played a saxophone
early in the night when she was she was only down by 6 points, 5-6 points, and she basically declared victory. because of a remarkable showing that nobody said she could do. She never said I came in second. She only said that, thank you, New Hampshire. I'm glad where I stand. We're going on to South Carolina, and she claimed victory. She was happy. She was laughing. The crowd was cheering. Wow. They hate Trump. She started running against Joe Biden. And it was the best time I've ever seen her on camera. It pissed Trump off big time. Before his little victory in New Hampshire, where he brings up his sycophants.
I heard he was angry about his victory.
Vivek and fucking Tim Scott, the two blow-me boys. He brings them up on stage, blah, blah, blah. But just before he gets up, he goes on True Social and says, what is she doing? She didn't win. I won. She won badly. And she doesn't look good in that dress or whatever.
Yeah. That's the way to get under his skin, though.
So when he came out, he's all sweaty and puffy as he looks. And what really got under his skin and was very effective for Haley was last week. You may have seen the tape where Trump is at a rally and he says, Nikki Haley, do you realize that I offered her on January 6th? It was her job to defend the Capitol. And I offered her 10,000 troops and she said no. She said no. Nikki Haley.
Wow.
We think maybe that's a different woman. And then at another speech, he says, all
the women run together in their binders?
I don't know. He says, and this drug infestation in this country is awful, and the death penalty needs to be. We are an institute. We need an institute of the death penalty. I will go there. I will go up. So she's saying what's getting under his skin. He's senile. And she's got this line where she says, the first party that retires their 80-year-old incumbent is the party that will win.
That's a great line.
And then and now they put out one of the Lincoln projects. They put out a tape of Trump asking about his mental incompetence and recording all this stuff, and it's just really brutal. Biden, of course, is saying, go, Nikki, go. Let him spend his money on you. You go ahead and tear him down. I'll take the high road. I'll take the high policy road. You take the low road, because Haley only really got her traction going a little bit better in the state when she started attacking Trump more, and she, because she can't alienate his base. She can't insult people who voted for him twice. So she has to find this middle ground. It doesn't do her well with a lot of people. The libs love to attack it, but I understand it as a political scheme. It's not because she had considered, I'm sure, being vice president candidate. That's out. Yeah. She crossed the line. And so that's how it went. And during the Trump speech, he says to Tim Scott, Senator Scott, who's laughing and smiling behind him, and he says, Tim, did you think that she really appointed you to the Senate? Wow, you must really hate her.
What?
And Tim Scott, goes up to the mic. It's a lot of laughing and cheering and shouting, and Trump's being funny. He looks over his right shoulder to look at Scott, and when he doesn't realize Scott's coming up to the mic, and Trump goes, uh-oh, and there's Tim Scott, and he says, no, it's because I love you.
Oh, God.
And then goes back, and Trump laughs. And then he starts in on Haley. And, she comes out here, some imposter, in some nice dress. Well, maybe not so nice a dress. And she says she didn't win. She lost badly, 14 points. By that time, it was about 10. 14 points he lies. And then he says, "Oh, I love New Hampshire. I've won here 3 times. I've won here in the primary. I've won here in the general. I just love it. I've won here 3 times." The MSNBC Rachel Maddow broke in at that point and said, "Just a little fact check. Donald Trump lost both general elections in New Hampshire, one to Clinton and one to Barack Obama. FYI." And then she said,
No.
"We'll try this again." And then she went
Obama
back.
and Biden.
Not Obama.
No,
but,
Obama, to Obama and Biden.
No, he's never run against Obama. Hillary Clinton.
Clinton and Biden. Yes.
He lost to Clinton. So that was her comeback kid. But that's what Bill Clinton did back in 1991. Right. Everybody counted him out because he had this big fuck up with his wife and, more women shit in his life again and again and again. Lawsuits. Paula, somebody or other, was going to sue him because he pulled out his pecker. And very presidential stuff. Trumpian in many ways. He was Trumpion's moral predecessor. And because Trump has got a little mushroom dick that his stomach fat hangs over so that he ties a string to it so he can find it, unlike Bill Clinton, who reportedly had a dick that was crooked. I don't know that there are some things that maybe we don't need to know about a president.
Is that why they call her Crooked Hillary?
One that sticks in my mind. She probably busted it.
Ooh, anyway.
He said, "Oh, Bill, come here." Bam. So all that by way of background.
So what are your theories?
Nikki took a page out of the book, went out and did it, and this is what her donors are saying to her. "You just got delegates. This guy's running as an incumbent. Here's the news. There are 35% of the people in Iowa who say if he gets convicted, he's not suited to be president. It's over a third. In New Hampshire, that number grows to 45%. You stay in this until he's convicted. Yes. And we'll keep paying for it. You be a pain in his ass. Money grows money.
Yep.
And we're going to take you, Nikki, all the way to the convention. And you can try to use the convention vote. As long as you have delegates, you are in the convention, and it is a negotiating time. Usually it's, I want my delegates pledged that I got 6, right. I got 16, pledge them to Trump. And then they change their allegiance at the convention. That's what the convention is, of course. She can go. Ted Kennedy did that to Jimmy Carter. He ran, he had amassed some delegates. It was ultimately unsuccessful. Teddy felt so bad about it, he said, he went out drinking. He said, I'm okay, I can drive.
Uh-huh.
I think you know the rest of the story.
Remind me.
Chappaquiddick, man. Mary Jo Kopechne fucking went in the river, fucking killed her. Crawled out of the car, left her there to die. Teddy Kennedy. You don't know this shit?
No, it rings a bell, but I didn't study that in history class and don't read
Chappaquiddick.
Chappaquiddick.
Mary Jo Kopechne. Mary Jo Kopechne. Yes. Crawled out of the car. Not a good way. Went home, didn't report it right away. There's a great movie about it. In fact, one of my favorite actors portrays Ted Kennedy.
That's what happened in Succession. At the wedding.
Yes, actually, that is an absolute homage to the true death. Homage, a joyous homage. I don't know.
Homage.
I don't know what to say about it. But anyway, that's kind of politics, and so here's the other thing that's worth mentioning. So what happens next? Little state called Nevada, just a couple dozen delegates, I think, and they don't. They primary and they caucus. What's coming up is a caucus, not a primary. Nikki Haley's not in the caucus, therefore she's going to lose those delegates. It's not going to be a big deal. Trump will make a bigger deal out of what it is. But here's what's next: the huge state of South Carolina, the state which more often than not decides the direction, the state that saved Joe Biden's failed candidacy, that sprung him to win the nomination. South Carolina delivered for him.
Okay.
Under the able support of the congressional delegation from South Carolina, Democrats who love Joe Biden, of course. But for her, the former governor of South Carolina, that they voted for her, I believe that she was in for 2 terms. Mm-hmm. She cut taxes. She had tough immigration. She had a lot of conservative credentials. She's got nobody complaining much about her in a realistic way, a policy way.
If she can't win that state.
Because Trump doesn't go there, he just keeps personal. Yeah. She can't. She's down 32 points. But it's in a month. It's in a month. And in a month is a year in politics.
Yeah, she needs to keep
a day is a month.
Picking at that Trump scab.
She needs money.
Well,
she needs money. And she's going to go on the attack. And the people that are going to start to fund her, that 30 and 40%, if she starts talking about at some point the conviction or the pending conviction, when and if that happens.
Why isn't she already?
It could, because she doesn't want to piss off the people that voted for him twice. And there are, in fact, the majority of people in Iowa, anyway, which is just only thousands of people, who would still support him if convicted, and a slight majority in New Hampshire. So you don't want to pick up some on one side and lose more on the other side. You've got to straddle the fence.
When are the convictions coming, though?
So not yet.
How long do we have to wait?
Well, so here's the way that a political consultant describes his job. He says, have you watched a herd of deer before? Have you watched them and seen them run away? And I say, yeah, many times. And he says, well, this is what you'll notice. The deer herd does not all run away at once.
I think I've heard this, maybe from you.
There's a deer, you may have heard it from me, but there's a first deer who runs, and the behind her, or him, usually her, maybe him, are 3 more and 4 more. My job is to be ready when those deer are starting to turn so that I can be the reason they're turning.
Huh.
Or my candidate can be the reason they're turning. Because when they go there, New Hampshire, people made up their mind, a high percentage of people made up their mind. The night before, many people said they picked up Democrat and Republican sheets and decided on the way in which one to vote for. So this idea of where are there, one man was interviewed and he said, subtext, he said, I was watching where the deer were going and I went there too. What he said was, I think it's inevitable that Trump's going to win and I want to vote for the winner. Right. So he followed the head deer. And in the case of New Hampshire and Iowa, unlike the last races he won, he was organized on the ground and had a fully professional campaign team on the payroll running it. And Nikki Haley's driving them crazy.
I want to vote for the winner
because he can't be controlled.
It's such a selfish stance.
But here's the rationale. No. It's solidarity. I want to vote for the winner and show my solidarity with the majority. I want to be part of the majority.
But votes are anonymous, right? Can't you vote one way and claim you voted for the winner?
Not if you want to be true to yourself. These are true believers. These are people with enormous emotional.
Well, if they're true believers, then there's no doubt about who they're voting for. But you just said that he made a decision that he wanted to vote for the winner.
No, they're true believers in the Republican Party. They've got to make the decisions accordingly, but they are true believers in conservatism, and some of them happen to be on that end of the spectrum where they believe about anything that Trump says.
Right. Okay, well,
so that's politics.
So
that wraps up the political report.
No, but my question about if he gets convicted, when he gets convicted, all this stuff, are all those gears in motion, and are there like dates for when we're going to know that, or is everything just going to get slowed down and bogged down, and nothing's really going to happen?
That's his goal. That is his political goal, is to slow everything down. There are two that might come to fruition. One is already coming to fruition soon, and that is the second defamation suit against the woman he was found by the civil court to have raped.
Right.
Jean Carroll, the author. That's wrapping up. He's giving his final remarks. He will put his foot in the mouth. And what happened was the civil court found him responsible for sexual assault, and then gave him a multi-million-dollar punishment and forbade him to speak publicly and defame her again. He went outside the courtroom, did it in the first 5 minutes. She filed a second lawsuit. This lawsuit now is being heard for further damages, and that will be settled. So evangelicals, be aware. He is now a twice punished sexual predator.
Right.
Okay, you can say what you want. Oh, I don't know that I'd want him in my church, but I like his policies. Really, you whore?
No,
you evangelical whore.
The argument I hear those people, the way they rationalize it is, yeah, but all the politicians are scum. Like they do this. So what if he?
Yeah, he's no different than he's no different than the rest of them. And one said, I don't care about his personal characteristics. I like his policies. Yeah, he's a big mouth and he does some stuff I just can't.
Does he have policies?
But I like his policies. Sure, he does. He cut corporate income tax and large income tax for the biggest cut in American history. Yeah, okay. That's his policy.
But he never talks about his policies. That's just like what he did.
He doesn't have time to. He's too busy retributing and revenging. He's a maniac. And so this is kind of what's happening on the Republican side. In the meantime, on the Democratic side, guess just went down. Oh, the unemployment rate, 3.75. Wow. Matching as low as it's been in like 20 years. Oh, what went up? Oh, the stock market. And as a predictor of growth in the United States for the next 12 months, it's the best rise in the stock market that we've seen in 10 years. Oh, what's happening with the general attitude of people in light of the statistical increase in economic stability, which they don't feel and they don't believe, and perception is everything. What's happening with that attitude? Oh, it's slowly but surely moving. Now only 40% of the American people say they haven't felt the benefit of the economy. That is down from about 60%. There is still 11 months till the election. Everything for Biden is going the right way. He launches the campaign thing. He's on target. He's bright. He's smiling. He's surrounded by Harris, who's younger, and her husband, Doug, and his beautiful wife, all dressed in splendid yellow, and they're remarkably focused on abortion. And a sign behind them that is 45 feet tall has 3 letters, and that's all that's there. ROE. And people are going crazy because he's saying you will lose this permanently. And that's not all you'll lose. You'll lose this, you lose that. And he's on the attack. He started the general election this week.
Yeah, if the economy is doing well, almost always I think the incumbent wins. Like if people are upset with their lives, then they vote out the incumbent. But if things are going okay,
the famous James Carville mantra that he put a sign up in Bill Clinton's office in the campaign headquarters, and it said in black magic marker and along it said, "It's the economy, stupid."
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So people don't. Yeah, people vote more about that than
their wallet,
than their religion,
and the statistics on most goods have evened out a little bit. A gallon of milk across the board is up about 35-40 cents. People are getting used to that. a pound of meat has gone up, and it hasn't gone down, and people aren't quite used to it. Gas prices have leveled off, but they're still relatively high in the history of the prices, etc. And while the other major indicators of wealth and economic growth, which does not affect bread or meat, are all going in the right direction, and corporate support for this economy is just at a very recent but very high, not an all-time high, but very high. Bidenomics is working, even though he won't say that anymore because that little phrase didn't work very well. As you remember, his opening campaign slogan was "No more malarkey."
Yes, I remember that.
It's a 1950s campaign slogan, "No more malarkey." Hey, yeah, I know just what he means. Malarkey down at the Capitol. Those guys, I wouldn't trust him with a grain of salt.
I used to be in a Facebook group called Snarky Malarkey that was based on that.
Oh Lord!
Good words.
That's the world of politics.
Excellent. Shall we pivot towards Hollywood or Alaska?
Iceland, perhaps?
Yes.
Iceland. So, I have some deep impressions of the second episode of True Detective.
As do I.
Which, quite obviously now, is a sequel to the first True Detectives in ways that we'll discuss. I'll let you offer some observations on that point first, perhaps as a starting point.
Yeah, this was an excellent episode, getting to know the characters better. I learned that the actress that plays Navarro, she is a 6-time world boxing champion. Isn't that crazy?
Oh,
Isn't that
really?
crazy? Like, she is real deal. Like, don't fuck with her. Yeah, this.
Oh, I love her acting. It's subdued. It's like less is more. I mean, she's
Right.
well. And so, what's your read on the connections with episode 1?
Like with.
Not episode 1, but season 1. I'm sorry.
I remember like that. There's this sort of concept that like there's this thin veil between the living and the dead, and that sometimes that can be crossed. And also, has every season had little straw dolls, or was it just the first one?
No, just the first.
Okay, so.
Although let me think a minute.
I swear the one with the.
Yes. Yeah, only the first.
Okay.
One. Only the first one. And so let me ask you a question. The old woman who lives out, who was shown gutting a wolf.
Yes.
At her place, and the wolf turned his head and growled to alert her that her husband, her dead husband,
Yep.
Was signaling her. You know the dead husband's name?
Ted?
Travis.
Yeah.
Do you know his last name?
No.
We know his last name because she said it. Let me ask you another question. Do
Travis
you remember back...
And Cole is one of the detectives in the first...
Russ Cole.
Yes.
Who told us in his season that when he was young, he moved with his father to Alaska, who had believed some pretty strange things. And he always felt like his father always felt like he had let him down. But because of these, he didn't elaborate, but he said he believed a lot of strange things. I couldn't stay there. And he left.
I did not catch that. Well,
Yes.
well.
Yes. Well, yes. So there's that. And here's the other thing, is that this episode, they brushed off the forehead
Yes.
of one of the guys.
Does that symbol go back
pattern.
to season 1?
That symbol was one of the symbols
Okay.
in the opening season when the search for the Yellow King
Yes, I remember that part.
was never successful.
Okay.
And one of the leads that Rust had that he followed through with great professional retribution was Mr. Pastor Tuttle, who was connected.
Oh, the Tuttle,
To
the Tuttle
the-
Corporation
Yes, yes. And so one of the funders
of
of Saul to Saul,
Yeah.
whatever pronunciation is of the scientific facility there, one of the funders was Tuttle Enterprises. As spoken during the and so what's clear now is that it's a sequel,
Right.
not a prequel, but a sequel of to that. And one of the questions is executive producer, one of the executive producers, Matthew McConaughey.
Well, he and Woody and Jody
Are both, yes.
executive producers.
Yes, still. And
Yeah. Will he make an appearance?
where's he? Where's he? Some years later, where's he? And there's only 6 episodes.
Yeah. So we're a third
We're
of the
gonna
way
be halfway
through.
there this Sunday.
Yep.
This Sunday. The other thing that happened for me in the second episode was that I became emotionally connected to the characters, and I got past the initial clumsiness I thought with some of the acting, or I don't know, maybe some of the screenplaying in the.
There's quite a few
screenwriting
characters.
in the.
There's like 10 characters
Yeah.
to understand.
Yeah, well, and some of the relationships seemed a little corny, whatever. It felt a little corny, way over that. Way over that. When all of those bodies moved,
That was creepy as fuck.
never explained, completely ignored, moved
Yep.
on, we don't know whether it really happened or
Right.
not.
Exactly.
It may have happened in Jody's mind. When you saw her in that scene, you knew that you were in the fucking presence of greatness.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Just unbelievable. And to realize this, she probably was looking at a blank screen.
Right.
Or I wouldn't if I were acting. I'd say, give me something to look at.
The
So what did you love it? Did you go? I went to a 10. I went from a strong 8
this
to
is excellent.
to a 10.
Excellent.
I think I went from a 5 out of 6 to a 6 out of 6.
Nice. 666. Yeah, I heard an interview with both with Jody and the boxer lady, and they talked about their mutual admiration for each other. Like the
Yeah.
boxer lady was
That was
like that she's not really an actor, and
that was Jimmy Kimmel.
he did something. What?
No, that was the interview you said.
No.
Jimmy Kimmel.
It was on a podcast.
I see.
And she talks about just how first of all, really fucking professional Jody is, but also how just helpful, and then Jody talked about how they had to she and the writer had to workshop exactly what Danvers' character would be, because Danvers is not a likable person, really.
Right,
She's just she's got something,
and everybody says
got
so.
something up her
Everybody
butt.
says so.
But what's interesting is the relationship between her and Navarro, because we don't know what went down between them, yet. We just know that there was some case that they probably worked together on, and shit went south. Or
Well, you know the case. It's the case of the dead native.
no, I think there's
Alaska
another
native
one.
woman.
I think there's another one. She
Well,
brought up
not that I,
when Jody was putting her beans away in her kitchen.
Did you hear what she said to her about the cans
She's,
before she put them away? What did she say to?
she like you move where you keep them.
Yes. What does that tell you?
That they used to be very close, and
Live together.
right,
Maybe.
and but then she said, "What about the Walterson case or something?" It wasn't the.
Oh, it was a
I think
different
there's a
case?
different one, and they mutually agreed. Look, we're going to work on this together, and then we're not going to see each other ever again because we hate each other. Anyway, the other thing that I don't understand at all, like the second scene after the opening credits, Danvers is in a hospital, and she gets told by the doctor that they're going to have to amputate, and we're going into surgery now. But I don't know who's in surgery.
I never knew that either.
Like it was, it's at first
It was a random.
I thought maybe they were frozen, but one of them had sort of come back to life or something. But
That's exactly what I thought.
then
no.
they don't go back to that ever.
Well, I wonder too when she seemed like it was a new discovery when the state patrol woman said to her, "There's only 6," and she counted them. That kind of dispelled the idea that she knew, like if they had to amputate. Now we know later that, well, what if it was the guy who wasn't dead, who was the guy with the sign
Yeah.
on his back,
His chest.
right? Who had a romantic relationship, apparently, with the murdered
Woman. Yep.
woman, who had the same sign,
Yep.
right? Blah blah blah, which is the split, whatever cases might be involved, but the big reason for a split between the two. You remember that Danvers said to Navarro, "You lost the case.
Yeah.
It was like you didn't do the work, and now it's over." Of course, then again, it wasn't.
I thought
But
Danvers.
that seemed to me to be.
Danvers came after that, and Navarro kept trying to get her to read the files, and she refused. And then she did read the files, and they were
well,
like,
it was
"Oh,
in
so
the-
you actually did read the files."
Yeah.
So I don't think that's
first
I don't
or
think that's
second.
their rift. I think that they didn't work that case together. There's something from
Oh
previous.
no. No. Nope. She was working for the sheriff's office
Okay.
during the investigation, and that was at least part of the rip. But I don't know. I think you're right about these other things. I think it's complicated.
Oh yeah.
I think it isn't just one thing. But the interesting thing is that the relationship apparently was still so trustful that Navarro took the suggestion and recommendation of Danvers and went to go work for the state police. And so whatever rift there was, it wasn't known perhaps at the time, which makes me think that Danvers, who's a son of a bitch, never told her that she had to get rid of her because she couldn't control herself relative that this case is over.
Huh.
She lost her professional path. But I don't know, it didn't seem to me that Danvers was so hard fought to go and bring it back again. She switched course
Yeah.
pretty quickly, but that's because she saw the evidence, and the evidence of the coat, by the way, I guess I had that wrong. I went into this crazy theory that it was the picture of the man in the picture.
Remember how you
was
claimed that I was wrong on that?
Yes, well, you were right, as it turns out. And I went back and I froze it so I could see it, and there was a guy in the picture that didn't have the coat on, and I couldn't. It was so fuzzy; it was hard to tell. But I was wrong about that, big time.
Okay, apology accepted.
But the coat is a string of pursuit that we've not had any follow.
Well, no, they were. Now we know from the trailer that she was sleeping with one of the guys at the lab, and that's the guy that had the coat on, her coat. I think that's just
Who's she?
Annie, the dead.
The dead native, Alaskan native.
The reason that they connected her case to this one was from the coat, but now that they had it connected, now they've discovered that they were having an affair, a secret affair.
Well, that's true about the coat, but more prominent was the tattoo.
Yeah, that's bigger.
The squiggle
yes,
tattoo
exactly.
that was very clear. But and I don't know which came first, the horse or the carriage. But at any rate, one can pursue the location of a code in a different way than one can figure out what the fuck about a symbol. But one of the things that they very well will discover is by going through the database, they're going to find the connection with Louisiana.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be a database full of bizarre, scary symbols that they could cross-reference.
They're prominent features of the case.
Right.
Ears and nose both cut off, or whatever.
Or the. I don't get the tongue. Why whoever killed Annie took her tongue, and it was there at the lab, and having been frozen, like there were some marks of it being frozen.
Well,
so was that the killer, or was that her boyfriend that kept her tongue? Like, that's weird.
Or are they the same?
Exactly. Her boyfriend is the one at large.
Right, and so it's a central part of the mystery, but it is the big reason that Navarro talks about there being a killer.
Right.
And Danvers says something like, "Oh, there's a killer now," and right back at you. Yeah, well,
what great set designer art, or like the way that they made those frozen bodies, just in pure, motionless agony, is corpsicles. Yes, I love that word.
That's what they're calling them, corpsicles.
So
the other thing that's happened is people being delighted that the word shitbowl kept coming out of Jodie Foster's lips.
What a great word.
Shitbowl.
This is the real shitbowl.
Well, and it's just interesting how Foster's got this contentious relationship with the mayor, or whoever he is, a politician, whoever he is, and ends up having a 11-year affair with him, which is all just about the sex, obviously.
Didn't she say it was 19 years?
He said something like 11. Yeah. She corrected it, right.
He's not the mayor.
Right.
He's somebody higher up, but not in the same organization, so he's not really her boss.
Yeah, I thought he was political.
Well, maybe, could be. But
I think he is law.
But he's not.
I think you're right.
Because she said when she got invited in, she said, "Yeah, I didn't think you were staying here for the weather." So
because he traveled.
So he traveled in from Anchorage, probably.
Well, yeah. So he must be a headquarters guy.
I think he's a G-man.
And that's why he was arguing for it to come to Anchorage.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And it's interesting, having been in Juneau, in Anchorage, and understanding that it is an hour and a half trip by jumbo jet from Anchorage to Juneau, and there's no other way to get to Juneau except by boat.
Right.
There's no roads. I rented a
Let's
car.
make that the capital.
Not quite understanding this, and drove from one end of the island in about 20 minutes, and the peninsula in about 20 minutes. It was funny that I rented a car, which I did use. In fact, I didn't want to walk. I went to either end of the peninsula a couple different times. It was extraordinary. It was extraordinary. Capitol's there. Legislators are there. There's a couple square blocks. It's a small town. Yeah. It's not as big as Hickory.
Right.
You know, it's not as big as Lenore. You know, I mean, it's Morgan. You know, Morganton would be huge compared to this. You know, it's like Shady Grove, but whatever. And it's just, you know, it's fun to watch.
One of the things I liked about this episode, besides making Shitbowl a catchphrase, is the way, that scene where she and her only friend are like trying to work things out, and she keeps saying, "You're not asking the right question. What's the right question?" And I love
that was her deputy.
Yeah. And and then it comes up later where Navarro reminds herself, "No, I'm not asking the right question. I need to ask how this happened, not why," or whatever. And that seems like maybe that's just like Detective 101, that like everyone learns that.
No,
I thought it was interesting.
It very well may be, but the very first episode created in the first 5 or 6 minutes that she was a detective and knew her stuff.
Right.
Because she looked at this, and the laundry was in the washer. It smelled, therefore that was been there for 2 days. The food and the sandwich, the mayonnaise had turned clear and run.
Yep.
That takes 2 days. So time of death. This happened 2 days ago. We don't know where. We don't have any bodies, but this is 2 days ago.
Nice. Yeah.
And then of course they found the tape of the very dude who's got the tattoo on his back, shaking. Saying to the camera, "She's awake."
Yeah, that's pretty spooky.
It's the murdered Native American woman. It's the other side teaming up to help her get revenge.
I love the pot smoking old lady that talked about how, you know, when the dead have 3 reasons to come here. It's either to tell you something you really need to know, or to tell you something they really need to tell you, or to bring them with you. Bring you with them.
No, there's something they want, or there's something they want you to know,
or they want you to come and be dead too.
Or they've come to take you back.
Right.
Or it was a little bit more ominous than they want you to join them. It's like, no,
and then,
they've come to take.
And then she says, "But you got to know the difference," which I loved.
Well, I'm
familiar with her as an actress. She's amazing. She's British.
I have seen her. You know who she played? You must have seen the wonderful adaptation of the movie shot in North Carolina with Nicole Kidman and Judd.
Yeah.
What's his name? Judd. Cold Mountain.
I have seen that.
So the woman who was the goat woman.
Okay.
That was her.
I don't remember there being a goat woman, but I don't.
You don't remember the goat woman? You do remember the goat woman who saved him and brought him back to health when he was injured and had a wound in his neck. She found him. She killed a goat to feed him. It was a pretty important, several scenes, a good bit of the movie, but I believe that was her.
Okay, I should not have just Googled images of goat woman. That's not okay. Let's close that tab.
Cold Mountain Goat Woman would
Yeah.
get you.
That's what I searched for in there.
Maybe for another
There was
time.
some creepy stuff.
But she was a great actress, and I loved her place. I loved.
Yeah, isn't that warm and cozy?
It was so authentic, having been in some of those residences up there, and they're small, so they can be heated, and every room is multi-use.
That set design is.
And you gather a bunch of stuff. There was a little bit of a falafel about the interview with the dude that didn't want to give up information, and he was sitting in a room that had two posters behind
Yes.
him, and one of the posters was AI generated, and there's this kerfluffle about from actors in the guild and the union saying, "What the fuck are you doing celebrating AI?" And the response was, "Well, actually, we were making fun of it.
Huh.
That some poor kid was so lonely up here that he went to AI and generated his own fake poster, and it was a kind of a stretch, but it sounded realistic given that when people are creating these sets, they can think of any reason we'll never understand for why something is there and not there. Some of it may have all sorts of symbolism. Oh, the stuffed squirrel that was in the scene, that was on the shelf in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, that was the stuffed squirrel of the lead actor's mother-in-law, who we put in the scene because she had died. I mean,
Interesting. I just looked that up with the AI generated poster. That's crazy.
And it said there's no figuring it's not an AI poster. They're all, after all, their hands are wrong, and some of them are missing their heads.
Right. Although that's also in this context kind of creepy. But yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, the movies.
Boy, people sure know how to nitpick, don't they?
Do you know what Jodie Foster said? We've heard this from other actors before. When describing the series, she said, one of the reasons it attracted me is just like it's a 6-hour movie.
Right. That's a great genre. Rather than 20 episodes of something where, with most 20 episode stuff, from what I've heard, they haven't written the end of it when they start filming the start of it. They have a general direction, but it's not all written because they can't do that. But the 6-hour movie is a great genre because sometimes in a movie it's a little too short, but
yeah. You
also don't want.
Well, although you're criticized if it's over an hour and 10 minutes.
If what is
or hour
an episode?
20. No. For movies, that they're sometimes they're too quick. Yes.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, the ones that are 2 hours are panned for being too long.
Yeah, or 3 hours.
And
yeah.
this and that.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a shaping up to be a 6 out of 6.
It's a winner. It's a winner. Home run.
6 out of 6.
And that's all from the entertainment desk.
All right. How about let's go to our local music correspondent.
Yes. So, I hooked up with this band called Brothers Proper, 3-piece band, and you may know that I started picking up a few songs with them when they played, and they liked it enough to give me their song list and say, anytime we're playing any song you want to come up, your mic's here, we're ready for it. Your choice.
Nice.
Every song, no songs, it's up to you. So I started playing with them, and then the dude who runs it, guitar player, sweet little guitar player, named Tommy, he he invites 3 or more people and turns it into a kind of an expanded band, but much more jammy. 5-minute jams on stuff,
Okay.
and different people going in different directions, and he's got a name for it. One name is LTD Experience, which is self-deprecating. I'm not sure that's the way to go.
What is LTD?
Limited.
Limited experience.
The abbreviation
okay,
for
got it.
limited. Then he's talking about his goal is to have it be a blues jazz fusion kind of thing, but what he's doing is not jazz at all.
Okay.
But he's trying to figure that out. So good for him. So I played with them, and I'll send you a picture of that. But that was fun. So I met then with him in the expanded version of the group, a drummer from 20 minutes from here, who said he was available to drum because me and 2 other guys are forming a little band doing some covers and some blues stuff. And the guitar player is absolutely fabulous. One of the best guitar players I've ever heard. And I never really heard him play live until last night. Or not last night, the night before last, Monday night. And I was absolutely in awe of his ability. Bass player, equally as skilled in the bass. Play great stuff, all picking tunes, playing. We showed up at the dude drummer's house.
Nice.
Who said, let's play at my place. My drum kit's set up. And we jammed for an hour and a half. Me and the 2 guitar players had jammed at
Some other place.
my buddy's house. Just the 3 of us to kind of get square on what we're going to do on Saturday or on Monday. And so there's this great thing happening where I'm part of a group of talented people who are just dedicated to the music.
Nice.
And we're in that wonderful early stage of collaboration where we're wide open and honest and just having fun.
You're not getting on each other's nerves yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, well,
There's anything that'll get in somebody's nerves, it's playing the harmonica too much and too loud.
exactly. It's pretty easy to get on someone's nerve when you got a harp in your
That's
mouth.
fun. I'm playing with the trio. I think it's the trio on this coming Saturday.
Okay.
Up at a place in Richland called the Dock, which is a good place.
Good name.
Yeah, and used to be back in the day. It was overlooking the
I was
lake
going to say there's probably water around.
by a kind of and since then somebody built a warehouse that blocks the view of the lake.
Oh, man.
So you can kind of go off to one side of the balcony and lean over and see a sliver of blue. I think that's true that the restaurant was there before the warehouse. I'm pretty sure. But that's a fun venue. It's got a good sized stage and good sound
Sweet.
system.
Well, congratulations.
So that's
on your
fun.
new endeavors.
I played. I also played last week, third Thursday of the month, at the Irish pub with the piano player and a drummer, and did a few blues tunes and sang a few songs. One of the songs this guy plays, which is funny, but I know it and I sing it, is "All of Me."
Yes, I know that song.
And he plays it the old time way. There's no grooving into it in any way. He just plays
It's
it
quite a
like
vocal range to play that, to sing that.
Yeah, I sing it at the end of the stage or at the end of the bar. I don't even stand up when I sing it. I just belt it out from wherever I'm sitting. But that was fun. Small crowd. small crowd, but it's really nice to do that, and how much it adds balance to my life.
Nice.
Something I love doing that is just here and now.
Yeah, it's very meditative in that way of you're
out of your own head.
you just have to be present. Right, exactly.
Yes, you're dedicated to being present.
I get that from I've been going to this dance class, and when you're focused on your body's movements, you can't be worrying about your mortgage.
You can't. You got it right.
Or anything like that. So, and music is exactly the same way. Get in that flow state, just groove.
So, there's one thing to say. All of me, why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you?
That's not the all of me I was thinking.
Take my arms, I can't use them. Take my lips, I want to lose them. Oh, your goodbye gave me a tear in my eye. Oh, can't you see I'm no good without you? You took the heart that was my best part. So why not take all of me? Oh, all of me. Oh, why not take all of me?
There it is. All right, that's it for episode number 204. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/204, in which I include the IMDb links for the women that Dennis got confused. You know, it happens. You can help support the show at patreon.com/happyhour. At the Gin Martinis level, you get to watch a video of us doing all of these shenanigans. We'll see you next week.